welcome back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Sunday Wire. I'm your host, Patrick Henningsen. This is episode 546 of this weekly omnibus news and analysis radio program, again brought to you here on 21stcenturywire.com. Hello to everybody in the chat. We'll go to some comments across the various streams in our chat in a moment when we get some of our colleagues up on stage. They'll be joining us shortly, but couple of big stories, and so much has happened. We talked with Frank, Frank Romano, and all of the activists involved in the Gaza Flotilla. I just managed to get a hold of Frank. We had interviewed him last year when he was stuck in Istanbul trying to get this ship onto the water and running into all sorts of problems with the Turkish government. Erdogan, who's supposedly the champion of the Palestinians, dubious at best. But anyway, we've been in touch with Frank, and just didn't realize that this was the same flotilla, that they had to be rerouted. The ship had to go to Libya, and then from Libya to Tunisia, and from Tunisia via Malta to Gaza, was intercepted en route in international waters. Some international responsibility is definitely laying at the feet of the Maltese government, EU member. This brings the European Union into this, which makes it interesting. Listen, it's only because of the work of activists that are pushing the envelope that would get the EU involved in this, and this might end up in the European Court of Human Rights as a precedent case. Why? Because they pushed the envelope, they pushed the issue, and they didn't have to. There are other ways to do it, but it just so happens it happened that way. So anyway, this is an incredible story. We'll keep an eye on that. Obviously, for those of you who didn't see it, Freedom Flotilla Coalition, that's their X account, freedomflotilla.org. That's their website. You can get more information there. Certainly, there's a lot of different ways you can support and get involved in this. I think this is a good effort. Anyway, it's one of the more proactive efforts, I think, that we've seen. And I mean, what happened in 2010 was horrific, to say the least. But anyway, I hope not. I hope that doesn't happen again. They certainly had a close call here, as you can see how reckless the Israeli government is, that they would deploy a drone to attack that ship, the Conscience, and at the risk of killing crew members, sinking a ship with how many people on it. They didn't care. The Israelis clearly don't care. But what's worse is no one will hold them to account. This is an international incident. But then again, it shouldn't surprise anybody, because the world sat back and did nothing, said nothing, when a whole pipeline got blown up at the bottom of the Baltic Sea, the Nord Stream pipeline, in September of 2022. A whole pipeline between Russia and Germany. Boom. Nobody said anything. Oh, I don't know who did it. Could have been... we don't know. It could have been John Wick in a scuba outfit. I mean, nobody knows. Couldn't be United States, could it? And of course, who is attacking a Freedom Flotilla? Couldn't be Israel. Of course, they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't fly 1,000, kilometers outside of their airspace to attack a ship packed with aid on the way to Gaza, essential aid. They wouldn't do that, would they? Would the Israelis do that? Well, they have done that before. They have attacked aid flotillas before. I can see my colleague coming into the green room. I'm going to bring him up on stage. This is Hesher, Bryan McClain, aka Hesher. Hesher, how are you? How are you doing, mate?
Pretty good. That was a interesting first hour of the show there. It's great to be with you here, Patrick. How you doing today?
I'm doing okay. I had a bit of an injury. I couldn't do the cameras and lights until like Friday. I did the UK column news. It's healed up pretty good, but I had minimal vision on this side, and I've covered up the wounds pretty badly. But anyway, look a bit like Luke Skywalker after the Empire Strikes Back, after he got hit by the what's that animal, the ice creature? Wampa. Yeah, the Wampa. Yeah, after it got so not pleasant. Anyway, it's healing up pretty good, and I'm wearing these glasses just because it helps with the reflection a little bit, and it covers up the gash, which is right along the rim on this side. But anyway, forget about the gory details there. We're back. That's what matters. Back doing the Sunday Wire. The midweek Wire will be back probably with Freddie Ponton on Wednesday, hopefully, if Freddie's available. And so, I mean, there's been no shortage of crazy things going on. Hesher, I spoke to one of your colleagues, Mark Anderson, on Friday. He was on the Boiler Room. You guys were chewing the fat. Plenty of things going on. I mean, let's cut to the chase. This is the big news right now. Have you been following this? Is it true? Is Bibi on the outs with Trump? Do you believe it? Cautiously optimistic. What are your thoughts on this?
I don't know. I guess I'm cautiously approaching cautiously optimistic. I'm not quite there yet. It seems plausible. It's definitely plausible. There does seem to be some evidence to support it, but at the same time, I just, as a practical person, sit here and look at the amount of money that has been sent to Israel and to Ukraine, for that matter. Just kind of adding that all up and saying, what does it take for a politician or a president to get sick of this? Okay, you're sick of it now. All right, cool. Right on. What happens next? I'll wait and see. But, I'm just looking in the rearview mirror here, looking at that, $300 billion or whatever these two countries have gotten combined in the last few years. And, wondering when the death and destruction and, all that stuff is going to stop. So, I'm cautiously optimistic, but at the same time, the circle around Donald Trump is a lot of Zionists in there, but we're definitely seeing a bit of a bifurcation of both Maha and MAGA at this point. And, there is a bit of a wave of awakening, I suppose, if we want to use the trope.
Yeah, I like that word, bifurcation. There's a lot of bifurcation going on these days everywhere, especially in politics. So, I mean, I showed this to Frank. I mean, this is absolutely incredible. Yemen is holding Israel's feet to the fire. Israel came back after this. They shut down Ben Gurion Airport, and Israel came back and basically destroyed Sana'a Airport. So the main airport in Yemen, it's gone. So they destroyed it. And Yemen's like, their next announcement is like, get ready. We're going to hit you 10 times as hard. Brace yourself. I mean, these guys are unbelievable. This country is one of the poorest countries in the world. They're not deterred one bit by the United States or by Israel. In fact, so much so, Hesher, the U.S. called it quits with Yemen after they lost their second FA-18 Super Hornet jet. Supposedly, it fell off the side. Another one. What are the odds of that happening in 1 week, span of 1 week? Do you buy the official explanation? Being a man who would usually have in your previous life analyzing those types of incidents, Hesher?
No, sounds like a cover story to me. Definitely sounds like a cover story. I think there's a lot of actually conflict that has to do with the Yemeni soldiers that does not get covered, because they've actually been very effective against the Saudis a number of times. They've been effective against, the forces using American intelligence and Western, munitions. And they don't like to talk about that in the media, it seems, and they've been in, under attack and under sanctions and under things for so long. They've really had a long time to sort of become a bit of a hardened fighting force. And I think they probably also know that they're not going to have a ground invasion. So that, not having to prepare for a ground invasion really kind of changes the capabilities and the ways in which they might focus their efforts, because we just don't have the military materials to do a ground invasion in a place like Yemen. Believe it or not, most people don't know that, I think, or they just assume military superiority which we may just not have, and Israel may just not have, and Saudi Arabia may just not have military superiority without just carpet bombing and drone attacks.
Sure, and in the media, the Yemeni missile that got through the U.S. THAAD system, got through all of the Iron Dome, David's sling, Arrow 2. I'm not going to call it David's sling. I'm going to call it Larry David's sling. It's just not working that well. And this is the image they won't show you in the Western media, Hesher. Look at the size of the crater at Ben Gurion Airport. You see the size of the worker there? I don't know if people can see this. I mean, that they never showed this on the AP or Reuters. They just showed like some dirt being mopped up on the highway going into the terminal at Ben Gurion. Nobody's showing this crater. It's massive. That's at least 50 feet deep or something like that. And so what I'm saying is, and the reports are that the Yemeni missile only had 20% of the explosives in the payload. So if that's 20% doing a crater this big, you can be sure that 100% is going to do some serious damage to the Israeli airport or any target that it hits. That's kind of a little detail that's been left out of the entire Western media coverage on this. I think that's kind of significant. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it definitely is significant. That's a massive crater right there. And what happens if that's one of the very few like electrical power stations that they have there? This is a small country. It doesn't take a whole lot to highly disrupt their infrastructure. If there's infrastructure attacks, which an airport obviously is very effective attack, it looks like. And every time we've seen this happen, there's like a media blackout on it. Like a photo like that is exceedingly rare, coming out of Israel. And we've had a couple other examples of these. And it's very difficult to even find photos of it. And the mainstream media, the mass media, they seem to, downplay the effectiveness of a lot of these strikes. And that just seems stupid. To me, that seems unfair to the global public to not be honest. But I mean, what do we expect?
What do we expect? What are we used to these days? Not much. I don't expect much. So if we get anything, I really appreciate the good news. One of the good news, and welcome Ruckus to the stage, Adam Clark. Ruckus, how you doing?
I've been a little bit better, but I could certainly be worse, all things considered. I could have been aboard that flotilla, or I could be one of these starving children in Gaza right now. So, but I was just getting caught up on the chat. It looks like somebody's threatening us, so that's fun. We know we're way over the target when we're getting that kind of response in the chat. I'm not a moderator on the YouTube channel, otherwise I would have already taken care of it. But nice to see you all out there, even the ones who want to threaten us for no damn reason. But that's cool. And happy Mother's Day to everyone, to who it applies.
Yeah, no, I'll take a look at those comments there, but I didn't look at the chats yet. But now that you brought my attention to it, maybe we'll highlight the user account that's threatening us. What's the name of the user?
I believe it's Corey Peltzman. Oh, I guess we're Nazis now too. That's cool. We've been Nazis for a long time, brother. I've been a Russian bot since before I was even Ruckus, bro. Come on.
Calling out an actual genocide is Nazi according to some people. That shows you how deranged some people are. So Corey Peltzman is the name of that account. So knock yourself out, Corey. Everybody's watching. So going back to the big story here. So this idea that Trump is falling out with Netanyahu, what happened, we're told, and this was first broken by, it kind of got broke by accident by a diplomatic correspondent for Israeli Army radio, Israeli outlet. Okay. And so Ron Dermer is Netanyahu's chief aide. And it's very strange that Trump won't meet with Netanyahu. I know Netanyahu's been to Washington 3 times already, but now he's meeting with Netanyahu's chief aide. So one step removed. And Ron Dermer was telling everybody in the White House, you need to do this, you need to do that. And apparently word got out that this had pissed off Trump because he feels like they're trying to manipulate him or manipulate the administration into doing things, i.e. giving orders like in front of people and causing the president to lose face. Obviously, that's not going to go over very well with Trump. I mean, we know the relationship between the Israeli lobby, the pay-to-play relationship between the Israeli lobby and the White House. That's well known, well discussed. But this is like taking things into a different area. Now this is this is about political optics for Trump. Why is this happening? Because this came at the same time, guys, that they tried to push a bill through the House, some crazy anti-Semitism bill from Mike Lawler from New York, this nut job. And Marjorie Taylor Greene tweeted out, "I'm not voting on this. This is lousy." And her tweet got 10 million views or something like that. And Matt Gaetz trashed it. All of a sudden, they dropped it in the House within 24 hours. So won't be voting on this. Sorry, forget it. Move on. So I mean, and then right after this incident surfaces with Netanyahu and Trump. So Israel and the U.S. problems. Is it because the base has finally caught on? And the base is now pushing back and making it known they're no longer supporting Trump on this anymore, or a significant amount of the base, the real MAGA base, okay, not the new woke right MAGA base, not the Douglas Murrays and the Ben Shapiros of the world, but the actual MAGA base. Your thoughts, Hesher?
It sure seems that way. I mean, yeah, and I gotta wonder like what this is like within the Trump family at this point, because his daughter is married to Jared Kushner and all that stuff. I mean, this is like a family affair, sort of, at at sort of the high level sense, but maybe that falls secondary to the MAGA base, perhaps. Because the MAGA base at this point, and they may have really blown it when they decided to, hyper politicize the Ukrainian thing. That was very strange. The way the whole, like, there was just this both sides of the aisle, all in on Ukraine, like all the way up until, even after Trump has been, put back in the White House for this second trip around, the second administration. And then it wasn't until, a few weeks back when they kind of had the blow up in the White House with Zelensky, that I think that kind of pushed a lot of people over the edge as far as like foreign spending, just, very pragmatic foreign war, spending and profiteering. Like people were already primed to be turned off by this, like leading up to that visit, from Zelensky. And then once that happened, it was just like, oh, okay, like all the, the true MAGA people backed out if they hadn't already backed out at that point. Like I don't want to say the group think, but, something akin to that, the zeitgeist among them shifted rather substantially. And, and that whole thing has just been kind of like a bugger, a joke, something that needs to be fixed in the minds of a lot of MAGA. And now it's how can you not look at Israel and be like, oh yeah, this is very similar, the amounts of money aren't the same, but the effect is very similar. And there's so much discussion about it on X. I think we may have just hit a point where there's been some sort of critical mass reached.
Yeah, tipping point.
Yeah.
Tipping points. I know, because it's not like this is all new, this is new, right? This is like already been welling up, and even before October 7th, it was an issue, and now it's just taken to another level. But is that delay effect, you guys? It takes time. Stuff just sits out there and just permeates. It just permeates, and eventually, the tipping point happens. There. And Pandora Chaser 2 says, no, Patrick and Hesher, this is WWF Wrestling Panto, saying pantomime. That's possible. That's possible. There's a lot of WWF going on in politics. A lot of politics is WWF, and Trump is the master of WWF, isn't he? He's a former WWF entertainer. So I'll put that there. It's credible. We'll entertain that. I don't know about you, Ruckus, but it's possible.
That's where I was going with this. That's my usual working theory for all of this stuff when it comes to politics and right versus left and black versus white and everything like that. There's always some hidden agenda in the middle that they want to try to get people to steer towards the Hegelian dialectic, i.e. So yeah, I believe a lot of this is WWE or WWF wrestling, whatever they call it now. Ultimate MAGA wrestling is what it is. The thing is, like, it doesn't help, Patrick, now does it, and dear audience members, to discover that the vast majority of the folks who are on the political stage, why do they always use those words, by the way, have like full-on IMD actors pages, you know what I mean? So like somebody pointed out the other day, remember the exchange between when the intense sit down between JD Vance, Zelensky, and Trump? Somebody pointed out that all three of them are actors with pages on IMDb. So, you know, that's not helping the cause. Yes, this is what we've been predicting, what we were expecting was going to happen eventually, because if you are somebody who truly believes that in making America great again, and that's got a bit of an isolationism ideal baked into it, right? And Americans have historically, generally, the citizenry anyways, not the politicians, of course, are fans of the NIMBY, not in my backyard. They're generally okay with a lot of things. They don't really generally care about what's happening on the other side of the planet. They're concerned with what's happening for them. Those are the true MAGA people. We want to make America great again. And how do you do that? By throwing tens of billions of dollars in weaponry into all these foreign countries, including somebody who is such a strong ally. We have to keep reminding everybody that they're a strong ally. If they were such an ally, it would just be implicit, and they don't have to keep repeating these slogans, these propaganda talking points over and over again. But I don't believe it's organic. I believe that the whole thing is a giant psyop. The whole thing is WWF. This was all planned ahead of time. This is not a reaction. Trump didn't see, oh, wow, maybe I went too far here and I need to roll it back. That's what they want to make it look like, because they still want people to trust Trump. They need to recapture the through the MAGA, like the ones who are on TV anyways, like the Matt Gaetz and the Marjorie Taylor Greens of the world, in order to win back the loyalty from the base in order to move towards the next phase, which I believe is going to be far more focused on, you know, technology, closing our borders, spying on us. I think we're all eyes are going to be on the inside, and we're all going to be treated as suspicious domestic terrorists. But I think we're going to move forward from this Israel thing. They'll keep doing stuff in the background. They'll keep supporting Israel, but it's not going to be on the camera and in your face and everybody with their little badges of honor on their social media. It's all going to be on the DL, on the quiet, like it always is. And maybe the New York Times will release a breaking news story like 5 months from now on the last page of their newspaper to explain what happened in 2025 with the Israel-Gaza thing. But I don't believe it for a second. It's all fake. I don't, you know, I'm not buying it, Pat.
Yeah, and you know, normally I ignore these sort of comments, but I think I want to highlight this because this is Corey Peltzman. Patrick, you should use a nickname if you care about your safety, and all sorts of derogatory threats there. So Corey Peltzman, your IP address is being tracked by YouTube as we speak. Thank you very much for your comment. And I also want to just remind Corey, who is probably, I don't know, in primary school when I started advocating for the Palestinian people many years ago, 25 years ago. So my views have been very public, unlike yours, Corey, for a long time. I've written, I broadcasted, made documentaries, been on television, been raising awareness about this abuse, these human rights abuses, these violations of international law and UN resolutions for many years, probably longer than you've been alive, I would think, based on the maturity of your comment. But we thought we'd make that public so everybody can see who this person is or who they claim to be. It's probably a sock puppet account. These types of people usually are. But yeah, my views are well known. Yours are not, because you're just a troll, trolling in comment threads, making death threats. So good luck with that.
And then just speaking on behalf of me and Hesher, we live in America, in Texas, and we believe firmly and strongly in the Second Amendment. So we're okay, buddy. Thanks.
And the First, and that First Amendment. Yeah, you don't.
So Corey Peltzman, who just threatened me, says accidents happen to propagandists like you. So we're calling out a genocide, and Israel's reputation internationally is toast. Okay, it's done. There's nothing that Israel's going to do to recover from this. So you're on the wrong side of history, unfortunately, and sadly, we're trying to stop the killing, and you're threatening us while we're calling for a ceasefire. We've been calling for a ceasefire since day one, by the way, on this show. So I don't know if you're in Israel or you're in the United States or wherever basement you're tweeting from or hiding. That's our reality. I don't know what yours is. Yeah, so it's kind of pathetic. But anyway, Corey Peltzman, if that's his real name, go ahead and give him a visit on social media and tell him what you think about his death threats that he's doing on live streams right now, which has been reported to Google, Corey. So we'll find out soon enough where you are. But anyway, that's the way it goes. This is the class act that supports the state of Israel. So good luck with that, folks. Anyway, we thought we'd just give you a little bit of extra attention because seems to be what you're after at the end of the day. So we didn't ban Corey. We want his comments to be public. We want everybody to see what he's saying and all of the malicious threats that he's dropping in our stream. So it's all good, folks. We definitely want people to know. So the majority of Americans do not support Israel. This is true. This has been borne out in a poll right now. So there's been a public opinion shift, guys, and it's about time, but it's now official, according to Pew Research and other major pollsters. The issue has swung massively. And I think it's like no matter how much money you spend, no matter how much propaganda, no matter how many corrupt politicians like Tom Cotton that bank millions from IPAC and the other Israeli lobby firms, okay, despite all of that, they can't even hold the public opinion polls in America. And that's a big L. That's a big, massive L. If you consider all of the resources they put in to making people believe that they're not seeing what they're seeing, the scenes of devastation aren't happening, that 60, 70,000 dead Palestinians, those numbers can't be trusted, says the IDF spokesperson. Those are Hamas numbers. They've been telling us that since day one. So despite all that, they're losing in the opinion polls, guys. So sorry, it's just not your day. Larry David Sling, thank you very much. That is mine. I copyrighted that today. Larry David Sling didn't do much against those Yemeni missiles now, did it? Hey, it's just the poorest country in the world, just shut down Ben Gurion Airport. So, just saying, it's kind of a game changer if you think about it. That couldn't have happened 10 years ago because we live in a much smaller world. The world's got technology, makes the world smaller. Iran can reach out and touch Israel. U.S. signs a truce with Yemen. How many Reaper drones did the United States lose to the Yemenis in the last 6 weeks? Somewhere between 10 and 20. Somewhere between 10 and 20. The official numbers we have are 10, but the other estimates I've seen have been around 20. And 2, maybe 3 FA-18 Super Hornet jet fighters, plus damage to the USS Harry S. Truman that nobody knows quite specifically what that damage is. Is it possible that the Harry S. Truman got hit by a Yemeni missile? Because if it is, wouldn't that be embarrassing? It's not the type of thing you want to put publicly. There would be a complete media shutdown on something like that, because that would bring the whole operation into question at that point. We know how sensitive Americans are about losing planes, pilots, having aircraft carriers risk being sunk. They cost a few quid, the aircraft carriers. They're not cheap. Um, so did that have anything to do with Trump's truce with Yemen? Was it more like a surrender?
Could be. I mean,
Fair
those
question.
MQ-9 Reaper drones, they're estimated to cost around $30 million each. I know maybe that's not a lot of money when you just signed a new $1 trillion DoD budget, up from, 860 billion up to a trillion or something like that. Maybe $30 million isn't much, but sounds like a lot to me. And if they're losing that many of them, maybe time to take a pause, take a break, look at the strategy here. And then if you start throwing the cost of FA-18s in there as well, and perhaps maybe a giant piece of damage to the Harry Truman. And if that's true, if the Truman was actually damaged in that kind of attack, then there's also a chance that there were injuries or even fatalities that we may not know about at this point. Because I mean, clearly, they're not going to tell us if something like that happens. That I think that much we pretty much know, unless that's going to be used as a springboard into some other action. Which of course we're kind of always on the edge of our seats waiting for as well.
What if the next shoe to drop is aliens? Because I was just thinking, this is the only type of person in the mainstream, anyways, who would report on an incident like this would be a show like Ancient Aliens to say, hey, listen, on this date in 2025, we lost a couple hair. Something's not adding up. Could it be aliens? Ancient Aliens theories say yes. But yeah, generally, normal people would see this and be like, something fishy's going on here. We don't just randomly, when's the last time we just lost? Sorry, guys, we lost another one. F-18 fell off the aircraft. You know how it goes. It was going fast, took a tight turn, and slipped right off. We're all good. That to admit that, it admits a level of incompetence in your military, and I'm like, if you're willing to admit that, which they're not, I would never, ever expect the United States military or any world's military to come out and admit the fact that they suck balls and that they just had this weird accident and lost all this expensive equipment. So clearly they're willing to throw themselves under the bus in order to cover up for somebody or something else. And I can only think of one thing or group of people or lobbyists that have that much sway on the United States in order to convince them to throw themselves under the bus in order to save face. Israel? Anyone?
No, but listen, when is the U.S. taking losses like this? When? Can you remember?
I can't think of. I mean, we know 9/11 was an inside job, but that doesn't count.
No, in a military theater, in a military deployment. Now, Yugoslavia, stealth bomber gets taken down by a 1980 Buk missile from Serbia. Okay, that was bad. Stealth bomber. Okay, we're talking multiple jets, over a dozen advanced, Reaper drones, state of the art U.S. kit, plus whatever else. I don't know, whatever else is lost or hit. Who knows? But that the U.S. does not take those kind of losses ever, and not against a country like Yemen, arguably weaker than anyone else they've attacked in the last 25 30 years. This is crazy. So like, I'm gonna say at the very least Pete Hegseth should resign or get sacked. I got attacked by one of the MAGA faithful this week saying it's not his. Why are you blaming Pete Hegseth? I'm like, who's Secretary of Defense in the US? Who's in charge of the Pentagon? Isn't it the Secretary of Defense? Isn't that the guy that would be responsible if it's what show in Yemen? I mean, could it be that guy? It's like somebody's got to get sacked, and it's going to be a civilian. It's going to be him. Okay, it's not going to be one of the generals and the Joint Chiefs, because likely they're following orders from these clowns on Signal. I'm just saying. So like, why is Hegseth still in the job? People said, well, he's not hawkish on Iran. Why are you attacking Hegseth? I'm not buying half of this stuff. Okay, I'm not buying. They just bombed Yemen for 6 straight weeks for nothing, and Yemen didn't attack any U.S. ships before that. Nothing, and they basically waged war on a pretty weak country, and then still got their ass kicked a bit. This is not a good look.
Yeah, yeah. And I saw something this week about the whole Signal group. Like apparently there's another version of Signal or some hacking perhaps going on there via the Israeli government or something like this. I'm not totally spun up on it, but I was not surprised to see that. I'm definitely going to have to look into that a little bit more, but it looks like there might be some chicanery going on with some of these Signal groups that Hegseth and his buddies are in.
Yeah, so there's that Mike Waltz being jettisoned from the National Security Advisor. That also happened in the last 2 weeks. Moved to the UN ambassador position. That's filling the shoes of great, icons like Nikki Haley and John Bolton. It's kind of a it's kind of a career killer, that job, don't you think? Like, JD Vance says, well, I think it's more of a promotion. Like,
I don't think so.
That's where your career goes to die.
He played it off as if because that's how it was reported that JD Vance said, "Oh, it's more like a." He was more than that. He didn't just like say, "Oh, well, we can say no." He said that's the reason they did it. Well, we felt that we wanted to give him a promotion, but And I was like, "Wow, dude, you guys are crazy." Excuse me. Didn't Trump do this during his first term too, switching around people all quick?
Yeah, that's called the cabinet reshuffle. That's what the British do. They take the Department of Education guy and stick him as head of the Department of Defense. It's just like juggling the portfolios. That's the British, what they call cabinet reshuffle. Starting to do more of that in America, and we did figure out a few things from this, by the way. Here we go. MQ Reapers, 22 at 30 million a pop each. Plus 70 million per F-18. Good, correct on that. We're already up to some serious loss. What, maybe $500 million in kit lost in 6 weeks of bombing in Yemen. Well done, Pete Hegseth. That's going to buy a few tattoos, isn't it? $500 million. That'll finish off the rest of Pete's body in in Jerusalem. Crusader tattoos, but. Yeah, that's some serious losses, guys. I mean,
Trump made more money than that selling a meme coin. We can recoup.
Yeah, that's what we need. We need a meme coin to fund the Pentagon. That's all we need. A stable coin to fund the Pentagon.
We'll call it the unstable coin.
To stabilize the Pentagon. We need a stable coin. I'm sure Elon's working on it, because that's what Elon does, is crypto scams. Milei. No one's heard about Javier Milei much. After that crypto scam he ran in Argentina. Elon's not hanging out with him wielding chainsaws very much. Well, he did show up to CPAC right after that. I thought that was bad optics.
He took a lesson from the Hakua Girl, who also disappeared after her meme coin rug pull. The only one who hasn't dropped off the limelight off the stage is Trump. Weird.
He disappeared. Hakua disappeared all right to prison.
Yep.
She got sentenced, right?
No, I don't think so.
Nope. She went dark for a little bit while the legal stuff was sorted out, and then she came back, and it appears that there's going to be no charges. So she's back at it, as far as I can tell. Whatever it is, I'm not exactly sure, but no jail time.
She's got merch. She's got her own coin, Hawk, $ Hawk. So she's that's just the worst part of Western civilization in 2025. Not since Putin's shirt, always the oracle of wisdom. Not since World War II has the U.S. Navy been under such military pressure. Yeah, they're under existential pressure, like whether to have a Navy or not, practically. I mean, this is the times we're living in. I mean, Navy's becoming a liability, like big targets cruising around in the water, waiting to get sunk,
It's interesting, too, that they didn't try to use the old straw man argument like they did during the Biden administration. Anytime there were embarrassing failures like this, well, this is the fault of the DEI hiring. There was none of that talk involved with these missing F-18s or any of that, right?
Yeah, there's a third F-18, someone said. There was a friendly fire incident before Christmas. That didn't look like it was kosher either. So just saying. Along with the 50 U.S. soldiers that had head injuries after the Iranian missile strike on the Assad air base in Iraq after Trump assassinated Soleimani. You remember that? All those concussions in Stuttgart. They couldn't have been at the Iraqi base, could they? I don't know. It seems a bit strange. I mean, this is what happens. You'll never admit that they ever took it on the chin because the press, the public would just devour Trump. If there's one soldier lost, that's it. He'll never hear the end of it. Probably from the rhinos as well. So anyway, it's crazy. Yeah, here we go. 2 fell off. I'm not aware of the third. Yeah, there was a third, but F-18 before December. So it's when Biden was running operations there. Yes, guys. So let me see. He's got a few other bits and bobs here. Trump doesn't like losing money either. So this is Yemen was becoming a bit of a drain. So it's not getting anything back. No return on investment, right? That's another likely reason.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe they were expecting to lose all this gear, and that's why they built the extra dollars into the new DoD budget for this time around. Maybe it was like, well, we'll just, we need some new Predator drones anyways, so let's just, send them in there on a suicide mission. We know that these people have stuff, anti-air stuff they can take these things down with. So, let's just send them in, see what happens. I think there's probably a lot of that goes on too that, is easy to overlook. And of course, you can only speculate about it because it's probably only in Pete and his buddies' signal chats, if anywhere else.
Yes, Pete and his signal chats with Jeffrey Goldberg. Oops, sorry, we added the journalist in by accident.
It happens.
Do that.
Didn't they
guys,
spend a lot of money producing like a slick campaign video propaganda on behalf of we're fighting back against the Houthis. We're going to take you on. We're going full blown, right? And now we're like, oh, we're going to just stop now.
Oh my gosh, there's some pretty racy comments here. I'm not sure if we're going to give these too much time, but people are saying, why don't you turf out the Hezbollah in the chat? No, we want to give him enough rope to hang himself, unfortunately. Sorry, guys, but has to be done. So here's some news, guys. There's a new pope, okay? Now, normally, so right after J.D. Vance met Francis, he dies 24 hours later. That was a little bit weird. Just saying, just a little weird. Anyway, the new pope, and to our shock, did you ever think you'd see an American pope in your lifetime? Honestly, so this is Pope Leo the 14th. This is Rob, known as Rob to friends and family, Rob Prevost from Chicago. Okay, one of ours. There's an American pope, you guys. And not only is the American pope, he's basically calling out the war in Gaza and the other wars too, saying, got to basically wind it up in Ukraine. This is no good. India, Pakistan. But specifically, he mentioned Gaza in his first address. This, to me, is a shocker. I did not expect that from the Catholic Church. They usually have a type of a hands-off policy with anything like this. I mean, it took Francis a while to make some pretty harsh statements against Israel. Pope Francis, the late Pope Francis, to his credit, he got there in the end. This American pope's coming right out of the gates. That's significant because there is political weight behind this with regards to the Catholic Church. So I don't know if you guys picked up any of this, but first of all, how did it? Were you shocked that there's an American pope? The front runners were like Italian, and there was another one. I can't remember where he's from. I think it was, not sure if it was South America or not. There's even an African pope on the short list. But we get an American pope. What do you guys think about this?
Yeah, Robert from Chicago. I mean, I was a little bit shocked by that. I think that's the first time this has ever happened, and I didn't even know that was a thing. I figured it was not a position that any American would ever get. Not that I've really thought about it very much, but yeah, that was weird. But Chicago is like one of worst places for corruption. And, I can't help but, maybe it's just bias from all the corruption that we've covered over the years, particularly out of that Chicago area. But I don't know. For me, I just think that's probably a compromised person that's working, whatever PR and goals the Vatican has for him. Just doesn't seem like the kind of position that someone named Rob from Chicago would get if the Vatican and those interested in that orbit the Vatican were cool with it, for lack of a better term. So I don't know. I'm skeptical. I'm always skeptical of things coming out of the Vatican, but it is very, very interesting. And as far as his comments about stopping having ceasefires and such, I don't really know what to make of that. And going back to that whole WWE comment that we had earlier, it's hard for me to take a lot of it seriously sometimes because we see so much of that. Like, I mean, look back at the Biden administration's stance on this, up until Trump took over, and you could see, the way that the mass media cartel was looking to parse that, as well as the Biden administration was sort of like a soft, like they were framing it, at least in my perception, it looked like they were framing it such they wanted people to feel like, well, the Biden administration and the Democrat Party as a whole are essentially pro Hamas. Like there was this, in Kamala too, they had this whole thing where it's like, oh, they're being pro Hamas, but at the same time, like you'd see that framework in crappy mass media. But then if you look a little deeper, you go see them meeting at, having their AIPAC meetings and doing all the other things where they're actually, talking about how their support for Israel will never waver. And, and there's as many checks and as many, missiles, 2,000-pound bombs as they're going to need. We're going to support that. Like we saw this whole thing happening. And I think that might be kind of what's going on right now. It's kind of like the attempt to take something that shouldn't necessarily be a right-left thing and only frame it as a right-left thing, like like they did with COVID, like they did with Hunter Biden's laptop, like they do with Ukraine, all these different things. It's like the issue drops, the hashtags drop, the social media flags go up on everybody's social media accounts, and then months later, and both sides are all in for it pretty much, unless you're a total dissident, and then months later they split it and they say, oh, Republicans don't actually like this anymore. We actually, this happens all the time now where it's like some big thing is the thing. The media and the politicians will frame it as though it's a right left thing at a certain point. There's like this deviation, then it becomes a right versus left thing when really it shouldn't be. It's health, it's war, it's death, it's medicine, it's culture. Things that we should be able to have in 2025, a nuanced sort of, social response to. They're trying to disallow that. So it really feels like there's this narrative management thing that's going on that they try to apply political polarization to. And if they can't do that, then atomization and, ostracization seem to be, the next step there. But it's gotten messy, and I think that's kind of what's led to this bifurcation in the zeitgeist of MAGA in particular right now.
Ruckus, any further thoughts on that one?
I hear there's a little bit of controversy. I mean, as these things do often happen involving higher ups in the Catholic Church, it's known for having a problem and for covering up that said problem. And apparently the new Pope is famous or known or allegedly, I guess he was involved in successfully doing some covering up. And I had made some comments on a recent program I was on. I forget which one. I was on a number of things this week where I suggested that doesn't that make the most sense that this guy, I mean, if you're really good at covering up crimes of your organization, shouldn't you head that organization? Shouldn't that be one of your biggest skill points, experience necessary in order to even fill the position? I would just, venture a guess there. That's a great comment that you're highlighting, by the way. I like that.
Yeah, because there's an argument in the chat of whether 21st Century R was right wing or left wing, and nobody can figure it out. Even the stupid internet guides, like the fake one that's run by the fake foundation called Media Bias Fact Check, which is designed to smear independent media outlets. By the way, funded for that reason. They can't work out whether we're left or. I think that's great if they can't work out if we're left or right wing. We're probably doing a good job. And this Pittsburgh dude 87 says 21st Century Wire is truth wing. Thank you very much. I put a star next to that comment, so that's like pinned on my board there.
As for the gentleman, the Pope being American, I still haven't done my own research yet. I wanted to say I thought that there was an American Pope in the past. In fact, I thought it was Pope John Paul II, but I don't know. I'm gonna have to do some digging, find out about this.
No, he was Polish.
Oh, okay. See,
He was Polish, like the Israeli prime
he
minister.
certainly wasn't Italian. That's all I know.
Yeah, like the Israeli prime minister, Benjamin Milikowski. He was John Paul II was from Poland. So he's a Polish pope, just like the Polish prime minister of Israel, Milikowski.
No, but it is interesting that he is American, and at this time where like the general milieu, the hot topic right now is America. We're going back to the golden age in America. Trump's doing the thing. He's doing things that like other people around the world are allegedly scratching their head like, hold on, this isn't how we normally do things, you know? So like, I don't know what's going on, but there's this whole zeitgeist of we're going to make America like exceptional. We got the anniversary coming up, 250 years of our country and all of that stuff. So maybe there's something to the fact that maybe they want America on the global stage in this form for this next phase that we're going to be experiencing. I mean, is this going to be the Pope that tells everybody it's okay to accept the technocratic mark of the beast, the brain chip in your head? You know, and bless you with the sacrament before you put it in your brain. I mean, who knows? I don't know where this is headed, but I don't think it's by accident that he's American at this time.
He's actually a dual citizen. He's American and Peruvian citizenship because by nature the amount of time he spent in the country of Peru as a bishop and cardinal, I guess, as well. And that's where that said allegations of child abuse cover-up was in Peru. So Pope Benedict basically had big problems in this department. If you guys remember, he was the Pope before 2013, I guess. I think he retired or died around that time before Francis came on the scene here. But this is an interesting comment by Zach. I was hoping Rabbi Shmuley for Pope. Funny you should say that, Zach, because Shmuley is actually involved in this story, believe it or not. Like, he's everywhere. Rabbi Superglue managed to inculcate himself into the papal discussion, and we'll bring this up on stage. And I kid you not, guys. So the front runner, everybody was talking about Cardinal Parolin. I think he was Italian. But that was the front runner there. So we'll bring this up on stage. So that was on April 29th. There's Rabbi Shmuley, and I've said here, rumors out of the Vatican suggest this endorsement by Shmuley had sunk Parolin's chances at Pope. So let's take a look at that a little bit closer here. There is the man himself, the man who imposed himself on Michael Jackson in his final days, Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s handler, Rabbi Shmuley. So there he is. He is, as soon as Francis, I mean, literally, the smoke wasn't even coming out of the chimney, and Shmuley was over there like a shot at the Vatican to basically endorse Parolin, Pietro Parolin, as who's the Cardinal General Secretary of State for the Vatican, for the worldwide church. Shmuley definitely wanted him to be Pope because apparently Parolin was, wait for it, guys, good for Israel. So somehow it didn't work out. Let's listen to Shmuley on the 29th here. We'll bring this back wherever this, there it is. Listen to Shmuley here. See what he says. This is a ringing endorsement on April 29th for Cardinal Pietro Parolin here.
What an honor for my very dear friend Gary Krupp of Pave the Way to meet the Cardinal Secretary of State of the Vatican. Cardinal Parolin has showed himself to be a man of distinct humility and sublime dignity, and a great lover and friend of the Jewish community. And I just wanted to personally communicate that all of the Holy Father's Jewish children around the world pray for his speedy recovery, and that we have deep love and affection for him. And thank you for everything the church does to combat anti-Semitism and to stand up for our people. Eminence, and thank you for how being so graciously greeted us. Thank you. Thank you, Gary. And thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you.
I mean, that's a little bit creepy. Why is Shmuley in the Vatican to begin with? But anyway, didn't work out. That endorsement didn't work out for Parolin. That would have been a massive red flag, I think, for the conclave. What do you guys think?
I mean, whose idea is it to have this guy out there giving endorsements for anything, anyone? I mean, this guy, can we as the internet and the world just like get rid of this guy somehow? Like, I mean,
he's a major buzzkill, isn't it? When he shows up, it's kind of a buzzkill.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. That's what I mean by get rid of this guy. I'm not talking like threateningly like some people in our chat do here. I just mean, like, why does this guy get so much gas, so much attention? It doesn't, it may have even tanked this guy's chances. I mean, let's put it how it is. I mean, at this point, does anyone that's trying to get a big position want this guy in their orbit? I mean, I just don't understand it. This guy's like trying to sue hotels all the time. He's grifting around. I mean, he's just a known grifter. It's like there's almost like this sort of Jeffrey Epstein sort of stench on this guy. Like, how do you get in the party? Like, who invited you? Why do you know all these people? What is actually going on in the background that makes you be the person that shows up just attached to all of these different people and topics over years and years and years, when you have a decades-long track record of being a psycho, a grifter, and generally a terrible human being?
I mean, the Michael Jackson thing is really bad. I don't know if you guys know the background on that, but
yeah,
I mean, it's what happened to Michael Jackson when Shmuley showed up onto the scene is very, very suspicious. And the way that whole thing played out, that's my problem with him, is that he's just so conveniently attached to all these celebrities and some people who then befall very bad outcomes, like Michael Jackson. And why would he be so concerned with Michael Jackson? Is it have anything to do with Michael Jackson speaking out, in favor of the Palestinian cause? Did that have anything to do with it? I certainly think it probably did. And so the record executives were freaking out. So like, send in America's rabbi, apparently. So is he America's rabbi? Is he even a rabbi? Or it's just like,
I thought he was a butt plug salesman or something. And
he does do kosher sex toys. That is the family business, full disclosure. Okay. Not that we want to disclose any of that. I don't even want to, but yeah, that's the business that he's in, his family. It's kosher sex toys, believe it or not. Very wholesome, family oriented business. So
him and his daughter, great father-daughter project.
It certainly is. It certainly is. But
they promise a discreet packaging and privacy in its shipment. But unfortunately, Mr. Shmuley has your name, your address, your phone number, and how many you own. That could be useful information for various things. Just saying.
Yeah. Or at least for reselling with new mail order products as they come available. State of the art. Use your imagination. I certainly won't. But,
and Hesher, we might have the problem taken care of us eventually, because I'm sure at some point in this current administration, one Rabbi Shmuley and one Vice President J.D. Vance will eventually meet and shake hands. So
Ruckus,
who knows what happens after that?
All I'm going to say about that, Ruckus, is they don't really care about us. They don't.
That's true.
They don't. All I'm going to say is they don't really care about us. You guys, we covered Syria a lot, haven't we, over the years?
Oh, yeah.
And so how do you feel when you see this? A state visit. The head of Al-Qaeda in Syria, al-Baghdadi's #2, given a state visit with Macron in France. I mean, it's pretty unbelievable.
It's sickening. That makes me want to retch, quite frankly. We have covered Syria a lot, more than anyone else, perhaps, minus maybe a few other people. But if those people are out there, they're colleagues of ours, and we're in that fight with us. And it is just disgusting on so many levels to see where this has ended up. It's unbelievable. I mean, you think about all of the war propaganda and actual war that our soldiers have been through in the wake of 9/11, and the the manifestation of the PNAC plan and the Greater Israel Project, and to just see the way that they take someone like this, or organizations like Al Qaeda and Al Nusra and all these other branches, and just you treat them like they're just these malleable things that they can reshape and redefine at any point. Never mind the fact that they've been chopping heads off of people. Never mind the fact that we've as the West, collective West, have sent so many soldiers out to really dangerous situations. Some of which didn't come back, some of which came back not quite the same, and some of which will be dealing with that the rest of their lives, and as well as their families, over the narrative surrounding these people. And then just on a dime, we'll just bring one of those people into a country like Syria, call him the leader just out of nowhere, and put him on the tour, send him on the tour, go hang out with Macron and these other guys. There's like sitting around tables doing cocaine, apparently, from some of the pictures I've seen on X this week. That was pretty crazy. It's just like, what what is this world that we live in where this is the kind of stuff that's going on, and how seriously should we take any of this ideological war posturing, that we're being given right now, considering what we see here. This is like this is the capstone of over a decade, even longer. It depends how you want to look at it and how far back you want to go of the story of Syria. And it's just, we're just going to have to accept that this is like whatever they write in the history books about this guy is going to be total garbage. It's going to be complete garbage and lies. But I mean, I guess we're at a point where people aren't going to be reading history books anymore. ChatGPT and other things will just tell young people what happened, and they'll give us the approved narrative on everything. We won't have to think about the horrors and atrocities that this guy and his buddies committed over the years. We'll just brush that all under the rug, I guess, man.
I'm trying to divert over to Al-Jolani, but the comments are blowing up on Shmuley, apparently. But this one's good. Putin shirt looks like Shmuley put a Vex on this Zio Cardinals.
Yeah.
But having said that, Al-Jolani is known as the kosher caliph in Israel because he's absolutely aligned with the Likud-ite Netanyahu regime, who allowed them to take the Golan Heights and Mount Hermon and then destroy all of Syria's air defenses. Al-Jolani was basically hired to do that job by the U.S. intelligence, Israeli intelligence, Turkish intelligence, and job done. Qatari intelligence, or Qatari cash anyway, paid for it. But the kosher caliph, Abu Muhammad Al-Jolani, now known as Ahmed al-Sharar, Saudi born. He's not even Syrian, folks. He's from Saudi. So just to add insult to injury, wanted on how do you get from an FBI wanted list as a head of a terrorist organization to then being called president of a country and getting a state visit? Is Trump going to meet this guy and shake his hands next week? Because Trump's going to the Middle East. That's a photo op, Donald, you don't want. Let me repeat that. That's a photo op, Donald, you don't want. You don't want to be doing the photo op like Macron, basically giving credibility and lifting the reputation of a head chopper, a terrorist. You don't want to do that, Donald. Just little advice. Guys, that would be a very, very unfortunate photo op if that were to happen.
You know, similarly to what I said about the new Pope having a special skill set that plays well in his new role as the head of that organization, I say the same thing about this guy, right? What does that tell you about these roles in these types of organizations, i.e. being a state leader? You got to be a bit of a terrorist. When you were showing that picture of Macron and the other guy, I was looking at him like, well, just going based off of what I know about the world, there's only one terrorist I see in that picture, and it's Macron. Not the other guy. The other guy's just one of the actors, you know what I mean? And he's a much better actor than Zelensky, because at least this dude, Jolani, shows up wearing a suit and tie. I hope Vladimir is paying attention there.
Yeah, they had, and his first suits that he had didn't fit. It was a bit rough. They were having issues there, and they managed to sort it out. They got him a tailor. The British probably sent in a Savile Row guy, got him all suited up. Who knows? I'd like to know who's making his suits, actually. That would be interesting. Which tailor, because then you could boycott them. I'm the tailor to Al-Qaeda.
But it might be against the law if you're in America to do so.
It'd be great for your website, right? ISIS, yeah. Official tailor of ISIS. Testimonials. Abu Ahmed Al-Jolani.
I'll make one of those before and after slider pictures that people use to feature, and we'll have like the before or after Jolani, and what's his new name now?
Not sure. I hope Oswald Boateng didn't get that job. I hope, please. You know, some of these good Mayfair tailors. I mean, I hope they didn't take that job. I'll find out who the tailor is. I have contacts on Savile Row, so I know a few people. But that's interesting. Yeah, so it's very regrettable. Now, the rumor is that the Britain is going to have a state visit with this Al-Qaeda leader, this fake president who's not even having elections. How can you like invade a country under arms as a terrorist, take over and call yourself a president? I thought presidents were elected. Is that? No, maybe I'm just old-fashioned.
I think that's old school thinking, Pat. Don't worry about elections. If there was one, it probably wasn't any good anyway, or it was, corrupted by Cozy Bear and Fancy Bear, or some Moldavian 23-year-olds, or someone in Russia, or TikTok. Don't worry about presidencies and elections. I mean, hell, Zelensky's not even a president anymore, and people still don't seem to mind.
Speaking of Zelensky, there was a little scandal. Did you guys see the meeting of the Coalition of the Willing by any chance? Apparently, so it's Macron, Zelensky, Merz, and this is Kevork Almassian put this up, and we're going to have to use the slow motion cam on this, guys, because you really have to watch closely here. I'm going to bring this up on screen. This is wild, okay? You thought you thought we were in deep in the weeds before. Okay, this is actually wild. Let's bring this up here, see if we can take a look at this. Okay, so Kevork saying, watch closely. You see this picture, you see Macron with this big grin on his face. He looks like a Cheshire cat when these guys walked in, Starmer, Mertz, and somebody else. And there's a little like white bag or a white something or rather by the glass sitting in front of Macron, and there's a folder. And I want you guys to, everybody, watch Macron very closely, okay? Watch Macron very closely and how he's behaving here. Notice he has been with Zelensky the last 2 days, okay? They all have. Zelensky, I don't know if he's in the room or he's outside. I'm not sure. It looks like they're in a boat or something. It's like tight quarters. But watch Macron. This is just the weirdest thing. We'll take the volume off so we can just pay attention. Watch Macron closely. There he goes. There's Mertz next to him, the tall guy. That's a German. Little guy, that's Starmer there, coming in. British Prime Minister. Lots of gravitas. And there's Macron's in the middle. So watch Macron sit down. Keep an eye on his left hand. Keep an eye on his left hand. And Macron's like, he just notices something on the table here. And he's, oh, just grab that. He's going to go and put that in his pocket. It's just the strangest thing. And he's got, look at that. He's got, what? What is going on there? So Kevork is saying, we'll take a look at that again. But Kevork is saying, I'm not saying Macron was hiding a bag of Coke, but let's just say if it were a bag of sugar or a grocery receipt, he wouldn't have tucked it away like a squirrel hiding snacks for winter. Very well put by Kevork Almazian. I find that to be very strange. There's a lot of speculation about what it might be. You know, what it might be. He was hanging out with Zelensky. So obviously there's that. And I don't know, you guys. Do you think this is suspect?
Yes, but did you notice it looks like at that very moment they were posing for a still picture? So again, it could be the thing, or it could just be a random thing that he didn't want in the picture. But he did react quite obvious. It's a bit on the nose. I hate to say it, but
no pun intended. Okay, yeah, Ruckus. That's why we appreciate Ruckus being a balancing force in this conversation towards a potential realistic, normal explanation to what looks like a shady move by Macron. But of course, our bias is maybe getting the best of us here. We just think the worst with these guys, don't we? Zelensky and Macron.
I don't know. Look at his eyes. Instead of focusing on his hands, look at his eyes. He's totally got saucer dish eyes right there. These guys, I don't know. I'm having a hard time doing anything but jumping on the bandwagon with this one. These guys looks to me like they are partying and they're ready to party hard.
Yeah. Ian says Macron made a hash of that. Yes, he certainly did. He certainly hash of Zelensky's stash. So anyway, that's a little bit strange. I don't know if you guys saw any of these, the photos. I mean, the photos that they do are just getting really ridiculous. It's like everything is a photo op, like a historic photo op, along with 10,000 other historic photo ops, to the point where there's like none of these images are significant, but they're constantly posing, especially Zelensky. I mean, everything he does is historic. Like, I'm here with the European leaders, and he tweets it out. He says, here I am with Prime Minister such and such, President such and such. We're about to sign a historic agreement on such and such. And it's just the same. They've been doing this gag forever. There's one here I want to show you guys, which is, yeah, it's Zelensky tweeting this out. He's constantly on it, doing these ones here. But this is, we'll bring this up on screen. What would you call this? I'm going to say reservoir frogs. Reservoir frogs, obviously with Macron being what. It's just stupid. But look how big Mertz is. He looks like he's about 7'2".
Yeah, he's a total lurch.
Is it the wide angle lens, or is he going to make Donald Trump look like a small guy? Or I know Zelensky is 5'4". Oh no, he's actually 5. Believe it or not, you guys, Zelensky is around between 5'3" and 5'4". He is very small. Macron is 5'7", I think, with the heels on. And Starmer's about 5'7". Olaf Scholz was quite short as well. He's around 5'7". And look at Mertz. You know, the chancellor.
He just looks tall because everyone else is so short then.
Maybe so. I mean, Trump's 6'3.5", and he towers over most of these guys. And but Mertz is, yeah, it's pretty impressive. The Chancellor Mertz, or shall we say, Chancellor Lurch.
I want to see a picture of Zelensky and Marco Rubio standing next to Barron Trump. That would be interesting.
I want to see, yeah, and barefoot. No lifts.
Yeah.
No lifts.
Like evidence giants lived in 2025.
Yeah, that's probably the greatest meme of all time, is that one of Barron Trump walking into the White House, and it looks like he's about 15 feet high. Have you seen that? Yeah, that is one of the greatest memes.
I love that. Yeah, we showed that on Boiler Room. It was hilarious.
Ever, because it looks so realistic too. But yeah, he's pretty good. I mean, Barron's NBA power forward, 6'9", 6'10", or something like that. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Doesn't play basketball. Unfortunately, could have got a full ride.
But I hear he's a fan of wrestling. Just saying.
Yeah, that's disturbing. Guys, we're gonna wrap it up in a moment, and I'll give you guys the floor. I mean, we talked about our guys a couple weeks ago. Kneecap, the Irish band. Guess what? They're coming to Plymouth.
Oh, no way.
They booked 3 nights at the Depot, which is a really hardcore kind of rock and roll, rough metal, hip hop pub where they do, you know, the type of venue that's no frills because it needs heavy cleaning after a gig.
Sounds like my kind of joint. Are you going to go?
I think I'll probably go. I'll check out one of they booked 3 nights, and it's in July or something like that. So it'll be pretty interesting. It'll probably get canceled, or there'll be some national security letter or something saying it's too dangerous, because they're definitely going to attract all the wrong attention.
Yeah, I would imagine at the very least there'll be a good AstroTurf protest outside.
Yeah, maybe in favor of them would be nice.
Maybe you could reach out to them, Patrick, and arrange to do like a sit-down interview with them or something behind the scenes.
Oh yeah, that would be a good idea, actually. Yeah, that might happen. That might actually happen. Yeah, so Kneecap coming to Plymouth. Yeah, they had a big venue booked, huge venue. I think it was a major. It was a stadium, along with other big bands, I think, and they got them canceled. And then they went, and their manager went and booked a local smaller venue for 3 nights. So that's the way it goes. That's show business, folks. That's show business.
Yeah, and the fact that they're able to sell out 3 nights really says a lot. You know, that means that the bigger stadium and all those people are losing out. They're actually taking the L on this because they could have sold out the larger venue and used the larger promoters and all that stuff. But hey, politics are more important. The narrative is more important when your whole business depends on it. So, but it just goes to show, it's not going to stop these guys from playing, and the medium-sized venues will work, and they'll sell them out 3 nights in a row.
Look how much love we got for Palestine in the chat. Thanks, chat. Look at this, just one after another. Boom, boom. Wow. Thank you. Yep. Oh, someone says he'll put in a word. Do put in a word. We'll get really good traction on that, by the way. Thank you, Kalish, from nice Irish flag there. We like to see the green, the white, and the orange running vertically. That's always a nice sign. And an upside down red triangle. No comment. No comment whatsoever. I have no idea what that means. The upside down red triangle, but nonetheless, very good comment. No frills venue sounds good. That's one of yours, Hesher. It's one of your people.
Yep, for sure.
And sporting the Viking hairstyle there. And so, yeah, interesting. Yeah, some great comments there. I appreciate it, guys. Sorry that we had a 8200 unit or whatever Hasbara infiltration in our comment threads today on YouTube, but like I said, it's been reported, so you're probably not going to see him in the next comments.
It's probably just a rogue AI program or something.
Could be. Yes, somebody. Yeah, there's a lot of weird Corys out there. Just saying. I know a few. That's not to say anything particular. I just happen to. But anyway, In Your Face says, "Oh my gosh, they're talking about Zelensky here." Yeah. So, guys, I think that's it. We're going to wrap this up. I appreciate you, and some big changes. I think I don't know. I feel some major shifts happening. Talks with Iran going well. Trump's pulled away from Yemen. Looks like there's issues between Netanyahu and Trump. I find this to be extremely positive. So I'm happy the way things are trending. Obviously, we're not holding our breath too long, but we're happy with the direction that things are trending. So it's about freaking time. But that's all I can say. So I don't know. Marjorie Taylor Greene coming out like that and basically spiking that anti-Semitism bill. I mean, or anti-BDS bill. That's man. I've been critical of MGT, but I gave her huge props. And Matt Gaetz came in there as well and smashed it. So like these are the real, these are the real MAGAs. These are the real patriots. These guys. I think sometimes it takes some time to come around. Too long, in fact, too long. But I'm not going to thumb my nose at them if they do come around, even if it's late. Welcome to the party, folks. So we're very happy to see it there. I wish Matt Gaetz would get a little more vocal on some of these issues, a little more active, considering they screwed him out of his House seat.
Yeah,
with a head fake on a cabinet nod. That was very clever. Got him out so he didn't challenge Mike Johnson for Speaker. That sort of worked out well for Mike, didn't it?
Yeah.
Mr. Mike Johnson. So boiling frogs we are, says ZP Zap. The whole world, the planet is boiling frogs. It's constantly. John Fetterman's also been in the news. We didn't. It's hilarious. The Fetterman drama is so classic. It's just beautiful. It's not like we didn't warn people. Remember, we were talking about this when he was running for Senate. But I'm happy to see, and he got right behind Netanyahu when he heard about this Trump spat. Fetterman got right, and I'm very happy that the Special Needs Senate Caucus is lining up behind Israel. I think that's wonderful. More power to you, John Fetterman. He is, Pennsylvania. What have you done? What have you guys done, honestly? But anyway,
Yeah,
he's funny. Did you see him on the park bench with someone coming up to him? And he was like, oh, I don't want to talk. And he was like some random guy with a hoodie and there's like long basketball shorts. He even met Netanyahu wearing the sweatshirt. I mean, what's wrong with this guy?
I think it's a PR thing. I'm convinced it's just like Zelensky. This is someone, whoever manages his look, his PR, whatever you want to call that, they have a deal with Carhartt. He's always wearing Carhartts, just like Zelensky, always wearing that cheap Chinese knockoff airsoft tactical stuff. We found the name of the company like 2.5 years ago. We did a whole expose on it, and I think we even talked about it on Sunday Wire on the follow up to it. But it's contrived. I think it's completely contrived. It's not like he just wakes up every day and says, I feel like wearing my Carhartts, because there's plenty of Americans that do. You know what I mean? There are plenty of Americans that only shop at Carhartt, and it doesn't bother them, or they don't know that most of that stuff is made in China, even though it's an American company. And it's, decent gear, so people wear it. And, I think it's the same thing. It's just pandering. They're just pandering, and that it's kind of like it's almost a takeoff from an older era of Silicon Valley. Remember, there was this long stretch of years, probably more than a decade, where everybody thought it was so cool that Mark Zuckerberg only had one shirt. He may have had 100 of the same shirt, but it was like this disruptor sort of PR thing for him to wear the same clothes. And I think it was supposed to show like the hustle, like, oh, I don't have time to think about my outfit today. I wear the same shirt every day. It's a similar like low level psychological PR trick that they're applying to an avatar like a Zuckerberg or a Fetterman. Speaking of people that look like Lurch.
Is that sort of like Elon saying he sleeps on the factory floor?
Yeah, it's probably
so, that kind of thing. He's so he's so there, present for the staff. I'll leave it on this comment, because I like how Ian has wrapped this up very nicely. I suppose U.S. politics is rather like professionalism aboard the USS Harry Truman. Indeed it is. Very good canny observation by Ian Taff, one of our commenters there. Appreciate all you guys, all of our regulars in the chat. Thank you, chat. Thank you, chat at 21stcenturywire.com as well. Nice to see you guys back. It's great to be back. And before we leave, gentlemen, what are you doing this week? where can people follow your activities, antics, and other crimes?
Find us at alternatecurrentradio.com. That's our main hub there. You'll find this episode, find a show page for it up there at alternatecurrentradio.com currently, and it will also have the audio podcast shortly after the show up there. Of course, you can find it at 21stcenturywire.com also. Boiler Room, we'll be doing a Boiler Room on Thursday. We did a Boiler Room last Thursday after taking a couple of weeks off, and it was great. It was great to be back on air. Great to be back on air this week after a week off there. A well-timed week off, actually, for me at least, Patrick. So glad you're feeling better and glad to be back with you here. So find us at alternatecurrentradio.com. You can maybe also find me at thepulse.today. Some changes going on the website over there, and I'm kind of standing by to get back on that Pulse Radio 2 link up there. And we'll give you an update. Keep an eye on our Discord. If you're not a member of the Boiler Room Discord, you can find that at alternatecurrentradio.com in the main menu. There's an invite there. And big shout out to everybody chatting in that Discord. Shout out to all our friends at thepulse.today. Looking forward to getting back on air over there. You can find Basil and Mike Ryan and others on air on their video stream over there. So we do encourage you to support them. And big shout out to everybody that's been chatting in the YouTube chat and the Rumble chat and the X chat today. And thanks again for having me, Patrick. Have a great rest of your Sunday, everybody. And we'll see you for Boiler Room on Thursday, Midweek Wire on Wednesday, hopefully, and Sunday Wire again next week.
Thank you, Bryan McClain, a.k.a. Hesher. Appreciate it. And Ruckus, we'll close out with you.
Yeah, sure. I actually just last week I made a bunch of appearances on a number of live shows rather than getting my own podcast done. I'm not sure what's going to happen next week because I am up. I've got a lot of work to do. I picked up a client which is going to help me pay my bills, so that's good news. But it might keep me away from producing a new episode of the Daily Ruckus this week. But I'm going to make every effort to get one of those out. There it is, the Daily Ruckus. Either way, you will find the Daily Ruckus as well as my appearances on other programs such as Weaponized News with Sam Chaney, which I do co-host every Monday. But you'll also pretty soon after today, I'm going to make a post up there. I do a series. It's called Roundabout Ruckus. So anytime I'm on somebody else's program other than Sunday Wire or Boiler Room, of course, it's part of my Roundabout Ruckus. But on Friday, I was a guest on a terrific program called the Third Rail Podcast, which is hosted by Nature Boy. You might know Nature Boy.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's great. But I got to go on air with him alongside Mr. Brad Binkley, and I had never had the opportunity to share the airwaves with Mr. Binkley, and that was fun. And I think me and Brad are going to get together and do something else sometime in the near future. And then also Jamie Hanshaw reached out to me recently, and at some point this month, me and her are going to do a live stream thing. We're going to get together and we're going to talk some AI stuff. So that should be fun. So looking forward to all of those things, but you'll find all of that at alternatecurrentradio.com.
Yeah, nice one. I like that. The AI, yeah, deep one. Deep rabbit hole there, folks. It's just going to get deeper and wider and deeper by the day. But, well, we can talk about that afterwards. Look forward to what you guys are going to present there, Ruckus, you and Jamie on that. So great to see Jamie as well.
I'll give you a little bit of a tease. Apparently, something went down in Reddit, and they just discovered that a lot of folks that they were interacting with on these threads and stuff aren't even real. Weird.
Figure. I wouldn't have believed it. I saw Jay Dyer was on the Whatever podcast.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
Oh, yeah,
I just saw a clip of it, but he was debating probably a feminist or something, right?
I thought that was AI. I thought there's no way this is real.
I thought it was fake. Yeah, because I was like, no, wait, and it was just like two of them with like a referee in the middle. So anyway.
That was fantastic. That was absolutely great. And also, 4chan experienced a massive hack and dump and dox. And as we have suspected and been wargaming and spitballing for more than a decade now, all the mods had either .gov or .edu email addresses. So the whole thing is basically exactly what we thought it was, just a giant cesspool of glowing Fed boys and people at universities on contracts, just doing what all the weird things that 4chan has done for over all these years. So I guess rest in peace, 4chan. I guess it's probably back, but I don't know if it could ever recover from that. Like Reddit and 4chan, we may have hit the end of an era here with those two sites. And, you know, vindication, absolute vindication as far as like what is running those sites, who is running those sites, who some of those mods are. And I found that to be a fun and interesting story this week also.
And there was a lot of Israeli agency and government activity. And you know what's interesting about that? And 8chan as well, I assume is the same, okay, is all the mass shooters involved or radicalized or putting manifestos on 4chan and 8chan. Not a coincidence. Not a coincidence. This is exactly as we said, as you correctly said, Hesher. We have been saying this for over a decade, and our suspicions were correct. And yes, it is a massive psyop, total manipulation behind the various sock puppet layers of sock puppets. Oh, magically a manifesto. Oh, it's on 4chan. Mainstream media is reporting it dutifully. So it's on 4chan. Found a manifesto on 4chan. Totally normal, right?
Yeah.
Not
No. And the group that did this, they, or, you know, by extension, who they share this stuff with, they have a massive research opportunity here, which is to, like you're saying here, go back to individual uploads that are very important, that are attached to you know, big stories that are, you know, like daily shooter program stories, stuff like that, manifestos, all these things. There's a massive research opportunity there, because they say they've got all the IP addresses and emails from the user accounts and the mods and everything. So who uploaded, you know, manifesto XYZ, who, you know, all this, like, someone please, whoever is part of that system that did this hack, we the public would love to see some further research on some specific uploads, some specific accounts, how it played into certain narratives. I mean, it sounded like an absolute massive hack and dump. They pulled the source code. They have the source code of the whole website, everything from the sound of it. So I really hope that this isn't one of those things that we just say and talk about and say, yep, oh, that was just like we thought it was, we're vindicated, no, like, I want to know whose IP addresses those were that were involved in uploading those things, who the mods were that didn't take them down. There's just a whole, like, web of intrigue that should come out of a hack like this.
Some important evidence there that there are other people involved in these so-called mass shootings and radicalized individuals and stuff like that. Yeah, can really catch them red-handed on this. That's worth doing, folks, especially when all these narratives have been built around these high-profile, you know, crisis events. Yeah, as dodgy as we expected. Hate to say it, we're right. Hate to say it. Well, you know, unbelievable. You got called a raving conspiracy theorist for even suggesting such things.
Yeah.
Not so long ago. So I guess we sort of know what we were looking at. We knew what to look for. We knew what we were looking at, and we kind of had an idea that something didn't add up, and we keep getting proven right with all these exposures. These people are so, oh my gosh, it's just beyond. Honestly, it's beyond. It's a theater. It's a big freaking theater, basically.
Yeah, all the internet's a stage, I guess.
It absolutely is. It absolutely is. Guys, I really appreciate it. Great show. Yeah, it's a lot going on. It's things, we're in a quickening phase at the moment. I dread to think what they're cooking up for the summer, but by the looks of what we've seen over the last couple of weeks, it's going to be interesting. So we'll keep our fingers on the pulse, keep our eyes on the ball, and hopefully we'll be able to bring you some more news and analysis. There's our great friends and teammates, Bryan McClain, Hesher Adam Clark, aka Ruckus. Find them on social media, Hesher Media on X, and AC_wordslinger for Ruckus on X as well. So follow them, see all their links, all their content's going to be posted there. Take care, you guys. All the best. That's all we got time for today, folks. Really appreciate you joining us for this Sunday Wire. Again, this is episode 546 of the Sunday Wire. Big thanks to our guest, Frank Romano, in the first segment, involved with the Gaza Freedom Flotilla, attacked by the Israelis just last week and completely screwed by the government of Malta and the EU. So they're pushing back with legal actions. So we totally support that effort by everybody involved with that great humanitarian effort there to bring much needed aid and food and raise awareness to the blockade and the siege that's being placed by the United States and Israel and the British government and the Germans and the EU, the siege that's being imposed on the starving people of Gaza. Okay, these people stepped up trying to do something and they got attacked in the process. So great story. We'll get updates from Frank on that. So I look forward to keeping tabs on that story with him. He's on the front lines of that. So again, I'm your host, Patrick Henningsen. Folks, that's all we've got time for today. Take care. Go to 21stcenturywire.com. And again, two things we really need help with. Okay, one of them is our YouTube channel, totally throttled. Subscribe to our YouTube channel just to help break the algorithm up a little bit. We need your help there. Like and subscribe any of these videos. Comment on these videos, on our live streams, on Rumble as well. We've got a great community we're building on Rumble. You can also see us at 21stcenturywire.com. Got a chat room there as well. And also think about donating and subscribing, helping us. We're bringing out some new programs, trying to keep the old ones going, but then adding new ones and improving the old ones at the same time. So we need your help to make a lot of this happen. And some of you guys have stepped up. We absolutely appreciate it, but we're going to need more help going forward. So do support us. Go to 21stcenturywire.com, donate at the top, or subscribe to 21wire.tv. It's another way you can support us on a monthly basis. And we really appreciate it if you do. We've got a great team. You'll see all the viral videos that we put out every day. We have video editors and people working on that. So that plus the great content every day at 21stcenturywire.com. We've got new reports out daily on important subjects and great research and great work by Freddie Ponton and others. We'll talk to Freddie on Wednesday as well. So we need your support to make that happen. So you guys, if you like this sort of content, you like the way we deliver it, you like the kind of guests and the conversations and the material we're covering, we need your help to make that happen and do more of it. So we appreciate all you guys who've donated, subscribed. We have all sorts of different ways you can support us. So much appreciated. Listen, we'll leave it for today. And, what can I say? We'll have more coming next week. And hopefully we're working on a few other little additions to our music repertoire. You saw Peyote for President during the break. Palestinian Children, great track. Great artist. Go check out his YouTube channel as well. Peyote for President. Peyote for President. He's a great artist. If you like world music, he is really amazing. Great artist as well. I've known him for a long time. We just happen to be on the same page with this important issue, the Palestinian issue. So we appreciate you, Peyote. And also, well, listen, we'll break now, but we'll leave with a couple of musical pieces before we go. This one again from Gaza. This is called We Win, or with a question mark, who's winning? This is a great piece of hip hop here with regards to Gaza. This came on Press Plus, by the way. And so post the lyrics and more about the artist next week. But enjoy and take care, you guys. We'll see you next week.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you for giving me the profound honor of addressing this great citadel of democracy for the fourth time.
And thanks for bombs that wreck Gaza one more time. For helping me pin it on Iran, that's the crime. Let me spin you a tale, talk to you when it's bedtime.
Our world is in upheaval.
We brand our foes as evil, it's our goal to spell. Labels ready-made, we wield them well. Terrorists, anti-Semites, animals all on sale. Every option laid out, no detail is too frail. Let me share my plan, it's all about me. Survival's the goal, friends, just let me be. Uncle Sam sends dollars, bombs, arms endlessly. Through twisted lenses, he pretends to see clearly. I could quote the Bible, but that's just for show. It's occupation versus civilization, as you know. Accusations by confession, the truth's on a low. Decades of incarceration, yet you clap for the show.
We win, they lose.
I can't breathe anymore, this noose is too tight. Just not as I blame in the dead of the night. We're criminals in truth, but that's our plight. Gentlemen in the headlines, painted in white.
Suddenly, heaven turned into hell.
We raised the homes, gave the order to shell. Bomb schools, mosque, hotels, there's more to tell. Not just that, hospitals fell as well. Thank you, madams and sirs, for funding this hell.
I thank President Biden for his heartfelt support for Israel.
Think this ain't real, it's all colonial play. Joe helps me claim defense in the broad daylight. Good man he is, though his words sway, supporting me, even when his talk's not right. They killed with rage, Arab women, kids in their prime. Gaza's an open-air cage, living on borrowed time. More deaths on the way, they've sworn the crime. So we pin badges of courage in this bloody rhyme. What in God's green earth am I ranting about? I'll take you on a ride, no doubt. But can't lie about genocide, that's out. Humanity's priceless, funds are what it's about. They call it occupation, a regime of hate. A racist dream built on a bloodthirsty state. Causing death, grief and pain at every gate. Yet I stand here and you still wait. And what I'm doing, I stand up in the skies, playing the victim, that's my prize. But ouch, they're burning me in effigy skies.
And I want to say thank you, America.
I love you and your hamburgers, that's no bluff. My soldiers loved you as pampers, just enough. No more Octobers, but we had our stuff. And we were the symbol of heroic grace. Not apartheid or racist to any place. Butter wouldn't melt in my mouth, no trace. From north to south, where the embrace face.
They call Israel a colonialist state.
I think I'm kidding, grab the Times, take a read. Ask the White House, they're trying to lead, but they need more training to follow my creed.
That Iran is funding and promoting anti-Israel protests in America. They want to disrupt America.
Speak of Iran, my arms go weak, my mouth goes sour. Let's find a new land to devour. Their might threatens our tower, hour by hour. Victory's near, but is it on my side? Defeating the enemies where I can fight, but that's not in me. So prayers I need and tax dollars, so my plans can proceed. We aim to make Gaza unlivable, our Nobel Prize. Then find a new place to colonize. Take the world back from the infidel guys. Make this region a 5-star paradise. Thank you, my lies have reached their demise.
Israel does not seek to resettle Gaza.
My lies have reached their demise. Thank you, my lies.
All right, folks. That was a little interesting one there. Interesting interlude, but thank you again. And we'll go out with a little bit of music from our friends, Red Rumble. Take care, you guys.
For in the final analysis, we all inhabit this small planet, and we are all mortal.
Lately I've been watching the world gone mad. Brothers and sisters full to take a stand, to hate their fellow man, another man. Divide and conquer is the acronym plan. Distract the people